Megan Thee Stallion, three-time Grammy Award winner, Broadway star, and a woman who is, by objective means, thriving, just modeled something that the entire internet and most of us have never been taught how to do. She held the man accountable, out loud, with her whole chest, and she did it without apologizing for the way she said it. Well, welcome to Dating Deja Vu, the podcast where we talk about your patterns, your pitfalls, and personal growth in modern dating. I'm your host, Christina Hathaway, marriage and family therapist and dating and relationship expert. If your dating and love life looks a lot of bit of the same, it might be deja vu, but it also might be you. So let's figure it out together. Welcome back to Dating Deja Vu, crew. We are getting into it today, and we are going to talk about why this boys will be boys becomes the reason why they get away with it. Now, I am not a man hater. I am married to an amazing man, but I'm just tired of the rhetoric out there when it comes to male-female relationships and how we dehumanize women if they even act out of pocket, and we just bow down to these men to allow them to do whatever it is they're going to do. So I want you to take a second and think about the last time a man you know, or of course we can look at popular culture, did something completely out of pocket in his relationship. Cheated, lied, strung someone along. Now I want you to think about what people said about him. I'd be willing to put my money, it sounds something like, well, you know how he is, or what did she expect? Or my personal least favorite, boys will be boys. I expect that from him, right? That phrase, the one little throwaway phrase, is doing more damage in modern relationships than almost any other piece of cultural shorthand we have. Because every time we say boys will be boys, right? Every time we shrug it off and let it go, we are quietly telling an entire generation of men where the bar is at. And guess where it's at, y'all? The shit is on the floor. We're telling an entire generation of women that their pain is the price of admission into relationships. So today we're going to talk about accountability, real accountability. I have talked about how relationship ambiguity affects people. I've talked about how we're not ready for relationships, but let's just talk about it, because the kind of accountability we're talking about today is what Megan Thee Stallion just modeled for the entire internet. We're going to talk about why we don't do this enough, why women get punished for it when they try, and why the silence around bad male behavior is keeping us stuck in the same toxic loop decade after decade. So buckle up, babies. This is going to be an honest one. All right, Deja crew. I know you all saw it. Our girl, Megan Thee Stallion, who, as I mentioned in the opening, is objectively the most amazing woman in the world. I mean, I was listening to her on the way back from the speaking engagement that I was at because I was just feeling on top of the world, and there's no other person I want to listen to other than her. She ended her relationship with NBA player Klay Thompson, and our girl did not do it quietly. No, she did not. She posted on Instagram, and the first word in her post was cheating. She talked about how she had been holding him down through his mood swings, how they've been around each other's families, playing house, and now suddenly he was telling her he didn't know if he could be, quote, monogamous. Then our girl took it a step further. She gave a statement to TMZ that said, trust, fidelity, and respect are non-negotiables for me in a relationship. And when those values are compromised, there is no real path forward. Now, I want you to sit with that for a second, because what Megan did is something we never see. She named it. She named the behavior. She named the breach. What she did not do is the bullshit we see out there. She did not give us the vague, we're taking time apart, please respect our privacy, non-statement crap. She told us exactly what happened in her words on her timeline, and then doubled down by doing the interview. This is what accountability looks like. Now, obviously, this is a woman who has a reach and a platform, and for us who are not Megan Thee Stallion, it's going to look a little different, which we'll talk about. But this is what it looks like when a woman refuses to absorb a man's bad behavior in silence, right? We do this to keep his reputation intact, but then she walks away feeling hurt, feeling confused, feeling bitter. And there's a part of this that should make us all pay attention. Within hours of her statement, the internet lost their freaking minds, right? And they did what they do anytime a woman speaks up. They came for her. They didn't come for him. They came for her. She was called bitter. She was called a gold digger, which, by the way, I'm pretty sure our girl owns her own business empire, so she's not digging anywhere. She is the fucking gold, right? And she was called too much, too loud, too sexual to be taken seriously for someone. She should be hurt, basically. She should be hurt, or she's dating an NBA star. She should be okay with the infidelity. A whole corner of the internet, what some people are calling the manosphere, decided that the real story was not that he allegedly cheated. The real story was that she had the audacity to tell us about it. We see this everywhere when people are expressing and uncovering the truth. People don't pay attention to the truth. They pay attention to how dare you speak truth in this. We see it in politics, we see it in conspiracy theories, and now we're seeing it online. How dare you talk about the truth if it makes a man look less than? And this is a cultural pattern I want to dig into today, because it's not just about our girl Megan. It's about every other woman who's ever tried to hold a man accountable in public and gotten labeled as crazy for the trouble, right? For what other people cannot handle. Let's talk about the phrase, the boys will be boys. You know, even our own president, it's hard for me to say that word, said, well, it was just locker room talk when he got caught talking disgustingly about women. And people are like, oh yeah, it was just locker room talk. The fuck is that? Anyway, when you really sit here and think about this phrase, boys will be boys, it's wild. It is crazy. It is preemptive forgiveness. It's a get out of jail free card that we hand men before they even commit the offense. It's a cultural agreement that bad behavior is not a choice. It's a cultural agreement that bad behavior is not a choice. It's a biological inevitability, and therefore not really anyone's fault, right? It just is. And here's the genius of the horror of it all. It's so baked into how we talk about men that we do not even hear it anymore. It's in our movies. It's in our music. It's in the way we talk to our friends, right? About their boyfriends. It's in the way we talk to our daughters about their own dads. We do this with dads all the time. I just talked to someone who was like, when people ask me who's watching my child, it boggles my mind. Her father is watching her. And they say, oh, is dad babysitting? She says, no, he's fucking parenting. But we do this in all aspects of our life. Let's just use something in current day. So Wes Wilson, of course, from Summer House. If you guys don't know what Summer House is, I talk a lot with reality TV because I think it's a wonderful way for us to learn what not to do. He was dating Sierra for a while. They broke up, and then for the past 2 years, they've been kind of going back and forth. Will they, won't they? And then turns out he's been fucking her best friend, who's also his good friend's ex-wife, right? And not that she shouldn't get the heat. Amanda 100% should get the heat. But the conversation around him is, well, I expect that from West, right? We knew this was like him. You know, this is just how West is. This kind of boys will be boys mentality in 4K. We have lowered our expectations of men. And so much so that when they dramatically hurt someone, we treat it like it's just like watching the weather. Like, oh, there's a storm, right? Of course it rained. It was supposed to rain today. But here's what nobody is asking. Why did we agree to this? Like, when do we collectively decide that some men just get to be hurricanes and women are just in their orbit, right? Dealing with the damage of the hurricane. When did this is who he is become the acceptable, suitable, or substitute for this is who he refuses to grow up and be? Or this is who he refuses to grow into. This is how he refuses to emotionally mature. It's just who he is. Because I'll tell you what this mentality produces. It produces a generation of men who've never been told no, never been told they're wrong, never had a woman in their life look them in the eye and say, what you did was not a personality trait. It was a choice and it was unkind. And without that mirror, they never grow up. They just get older versions of boys who never had parameters. Now let's talk about situationships, which we talk a lot about on here, because this is where the boys will be boys mentality has had its most successful cultural takeover. Once upon a time, dating had a definition. You were dating, you were exclusive, you were in a relationship, you were engaged, you were married. I mean, back in the day, our parents had like relationship rings to, will you be my girl, right? Like promise rings. These were all stages of relationships. They weren't just words, they were agreements. They were commitments to each other. Now we have situationships, right? We have talking, we have hanging out, we have hooking up. We have, I'm not really looking for anything serious, but I would like to have the benefits of a serious relationship without any of the responsibilities. I talk all about this in the Wes Wilson effect. It sounds like I'm obsessed with this summer house thing, but it's just so culturally present. So anyways, here's what a situationship actually is when we strip away the cute language and the like popular culture of it all. It is a structure designed to give one person, just one, all the access and none of the accountability. It's built that way. It's built so that person, if they do something that hurts the other, they can say, well, we were never actually together, right? We were never anything. And technically they are right because they made sure to never label it. This is a strategy, y'all. This is a strategy. And the reason this strategy has gotten so popular is because we have collectively agreed to let it work. We've decided that asking for clarity is needy. Asking for a commitment is too much, rush, too fast, right? That having standards is putting pressure on them. And wanting to be told that we are somehow responsible, right? And that we are being unreasonable when we have unreasonable expectations and demands of relationships, right? So what do you guys get? What do we get? We're out here gathering breadcrumbs and calling it a meal. We're tracking them on Find My Friends. We're decoding their texts. We're looking at their group chats. We're building entire fucking spreadsheets in our heads about this guy and the label of the thing that he won't put on it. I hope that made sense. And when it ends, when he ghosts or she ghosts, when he tells you he's met someone else, or when you find out that he's had a whole other situationship running parallel to your own, we say, well, you knew what it was. You knew what it was. Nope, she did not know what it was because he made sure to never tell her what it was. And that's the whole point. I'm sorry that this is repetitive. I know I talk about this, but you guys, you girls, need to hear this, and men, you need to hear this because I'm sure there's some girlies out there doing the same thing. The lack of definition is not a bug in the system. It is the system. It's the feature of the system, and it protects people from being held accountable. So why then, when women actually hold men accountable, they're labeled as crazy? So, okay, let's say a woman, your average girly, does what Megan did. She says what happened. She names it. She says it out loud. This man hurt me, and here is how. What happens? She becomes the story, not him. Her. This is one of the oldest plays in the cultural playbook out there. It's so old. This shit is like why there's a burial site of witches in, what's it called? Salem, Massachusetts. The minute, that's probably not why, but just go with me. The minute a woman holds a man accountable, we start to pivot the conversation. Suddenly, we're not talking about what he did. We're talking about how she is talking about it. Was she too loud? Is she being too emotional? Is she being too truthful? Too calm, which must mean she must be lying, right? Did she cry, which means she's being manipulative, which, hear me out, some shit on reality TV right now. Emmy from Southern Hospitality, that's some crying bullshit, but we'll talk about that on another episode. Did she post about it, right? Which means she's a drama queen. Did she stay silent, which means that it didn't really matter to her? We're watching her every move. There is no winning move, though. The system is rigged so that any way that you act, right? Naming the harm, talking about what happens, it becomes more controversial than the harm itself, than the pain that the person caused. And this isn't new. Let's be very clear about this. We have watched this play out for years. Cardi B has been notoriously vocal about her exes and branded as a drama queen. Ariana Grande wrote the song Thank You Next. That was frankly gracious, but branded a serial dater, right? Taylor Swift, the literal patron saint of writing songs about her exes who wronged her, spent close to 2 decades being told, that she is, quote, too obsessed with her relationships. And as any male artist who ever wrote about a breakup song, they've never got the same memo. They've never got the same memo. They actually get Grammy Awards for it. And Megan specifically has been the target of misogyny. So specific that apparently it has its own word, and I'm going to butcher this. Misogynior, the intersection of racism and misogyny aimed at Black women. And my apologies if I didn't say that right. She has been brutalized online for years. She was literally shot by a man, and people still found a way to make her the villain of that story. Do y'all remember that? Yeah. Then she comes out and says, he cheated, I'm done, here's what happens, and the manosphere lights her hair on fire. This is not a new phenomenon. We're watching a very old script, a script that says your job as a woman is to absorb, to smooth, to make him look better than he is. And the moment you stop doing that, you are the problem. And I'm here to tell you with my whole chest, this is not your job. This has never been your job. The women who are refusing to do this job anymore are the ones who are going to change the game. And not just for you, for all the girlies that come after you. Because the reason why we're here is because we were taught this. We were taught this by our mothers. Our mothers taught us to make sure to keep a smile on your face. Don't let anyone see. Don't share the family business. You know, dad could be beating mom up, but what does she do? Talk positively about him. This is shit that is ingrained in us. So let's talk about how we flip the script. What does actual accountability look like? Because I don't want this to be a 25-minute rant, even though it is. I want you to actually walk away with something you can take. Real accountability is not about going scorched earth, okay? It's not about humiliating someone. It's not about revenge. Megan did not write a 4,000-page essay on Klay or even write a book about it. We don't know if she will. She named the behavior, named her standard, and walked away. That is the model. Now, do we have to put it on blast on social media? No. But we need to let the people around us know this is what happened. This is my truth. So here's what I want you to think about, whether you are in a marriage, a dating relationship, or situationship, or you're just single and deeply listening because this is something to learn. Number one, name the behavior. We're naming a behavior, not the whole identity of the person. When someone hurts you, right? Do not say you are a liar. Say what you did was lie to me and I do not accept that. Specificity is powerful. Vague is forgettable. You lied to me and that broke my trust in you. Not that you're a liar, because in their head, they don't believe they're liars. But when you say, when you did this, when you said this or kept this from me, that was a lie and that hurt me. Number two, state your standard out loud. Trust, infidelity, and respect are non-negotiable. That's a standard. Notice she did not ask for it. She did not negotiate it. She did not say, I really hope I can do better. She stated, this is a non-negotiable. And the consequences in those non-negotiables were already built in. That is grown up as communication. And when you have a non-negotiable and someone breaches that non-negotiable and you say, absolutely not, you are doing so much for yourself. In the moment, it might feel like the worst thing in the world, but you are showing, I am worth it. I know my worth. And a person, no matter how much I love them, if they break one of my non-negotiables, which are really, really not unrealistic asks, I know I love myself enough to walk away. I love myself more to walk away. Let's also, number 3, stop accepting strategic vagueness as the answer to everything, right? If you ask a man, what are we? And he says, I don't know. I really like to keep, I don't like to put labels on things. Again, I already talked about this. I want to keep my options open, right? Just believe him when he says that. Believe him the first time. Don't spend the next 6 months trying to translate it or change him. Believe when he says it. Now, in the Megan situation, I'm guessing he did not say he couldn't be monogamous. I'm guessing he actually lied, right? And that's also something that can happen, right? They could say and be specific, and these things could still happen, but hopefully we can weed them out by listening to this podcast. And number 4, get comfortable by being called difficult. I can't tell you how many people call me difficult because I say what I want. I say what I want, and it makes other people uncomfortable. And I've been called selfish. Like, oh, you only think about yourself, when actually that's very far from the truth. But if there's a situation and I'm expecting something, I'm going to ask for that thing. And it makes other people comfortable. Difficult is what we call women who have standards. Crazy is what we call women who notice things. Bitter is what we call women who tell the truth. If you're holding someone accountable, somebody at some point is going to call you some sort of word set. That's the receipt, right? That means it worked. You hurt their feelings. You caught them. And that's okay. It is okay to stand in your truth, and it is okay to allow the people around you to be uncomfortable. I give you that permission right now, my dears. Number 5, stop punishing other women for telling the truth. Stop doing this to each other. This one is for the collective, right? Because the manosphere, right? I don't know if you guys saw that Netflix documentary on this shit. It is crazy. It is so, I was just like, oh my God, I can't. Anyways, the manosphere is not the only thing keeping this boys will be boys mentality alive. Sometimes it is us. Sometimes it's us looking at the other woman who got publicly hurt saying, she should have known better. She should not have posted that. She's doing too much. I mean, we do this to Amanda Batula, and I get it. She is in the wrong. But like if it was a scale of Wes versus Amanda, the blame is on her, and I get why. But when we are training men like the West Wilsons of the world, that they're going to get away with it. And if I can get away with something that's fun and exciting for me, but not necessarily good for other people, but I get away with it relatively unscathed, what the fuck do you think is going to happen? It's going to keep going. If you look at the Tom Sandoval Raquel issue, Raquel left reality TV. She is now engaged. She's doing sound baths, I believe, here in Tucson, Arizona. And he's still on television because we allow it. We victimize. We as women put her on blast and just say, well, boys will be boys, right? When we do that, we're doing the job for them. We are protecting his reputation and attacking hers. And every time we do that, we make it harder for the next woman to speak up. So when you see another woman, whether it's in your real life or on screen, stand up and name what has been done to her, your job is not to criticize her. Your job is to ask, was the thing she said true, right? If it is, that's her truth, right? That's the conversation. Not how she said it, why she said it, whether she should have said it. It's her truth. And we need to believe women, and we need to stop tearing each other down while at the same time simultaneously letting him, frolic in the fucking sands of Montana. You know what I'm talking about. In the mountains of Montana. But we do this shit. I didn't realize it was going to get so heated. It's just crazy to me that, it's her fault. Even these fucking, trigger warning, the Epstein files. Perfect example. Victims being blamed. We don't believe women. Why? Because In effort to believe women, we have to hold men accountable. Because we don't hold men accountable, then we have to believe that the women are lying or crazy or, searching for clout. Even the Dara and Sabrina of it all from Summer House, people are saying, I think it was even Levi of all people, that they like got on the show and like got in these relationships to be on the show. It's like, that doesn't make sense, because number one, Dara and KJ are both new people on the show, new cast members. So like he could have got a terrible edit, and then what, she's going to attach herself to him? Well, that sounds like, reality TV word that I shouldn't say on YouTube. The same with Sabrina. Now, Sabrina's obviously a fan and has her own personality, but she's making genuine relationships with these girls. Like, these girls aren't stupid. Sierra's, pretty open to the fact that people will like ride her coattails, but something about Sabrina is very genuinely fun and kind, and she likes her, right? But what do we say? We make it about the Dara, the Sabrina. They want clout, not the Ben and the KJ. Maybe they're the ones who want the storyline in the relationship. We never say that. Not to say, I'm not calling any of them out, by the way. I'm just using it as an example. And what it really is about is what I want you to hear today, that accountability isn't punishment. When you hold people accountable, you're doing it through love. When you hold somebody accountable, we are saying, I believe you are capable of better. I'm not letting you off the hook not because I don't love you, right? I'm not letting you off the hook because I do love you, right? When you let a man slide every single time with the boys will be bullies bullshit, what you're saying to him is, I do not believe you can grow. I don't believe you can handle growth. I don't think that you'll ever mature. I don't trust in your maturity process. And I'm willing to manage your worst behaviors forever rather than asking you to be a better man. And that's not love, my girls. That's contempt. Contempt with a smile on. Real love has a fucking backbone. Real love is a standard, Real love says, I see who you are right now, and I see who you can be. I'm not going to be funding that gap between the two and hurting my own peace. Megan Thee Stallion didn't break up with Klay Thompson because she stopped loving him. She broke up with him because she loved him enough. She loved herself enough, I should say, to not let his choices be her storyline. That's the fucking move. That is the lesson. And for the women who are watching this, for the women who are still in situationships, still defending their unworthy boyfriend bullshit guy, still translating mixed signals as a foreign language exam, I'm talking to you. You are allowed to want clarity. You're allowed to expect fidelity. You're allowed to walk away the first time, not the 15th time. You're allowed to say it out loud. You're allowed to tell another woman your truth, even when the truth is unflattering for the man maybe everyone likes. The world does not need more women who tolerate. It needs more women who can name and know their worth. Now, I know this sounded like I was bashing dudes, but it's crazy to see the difference of these two worlds, with Megan and the accountability and doing what she's doing, and then the West Wilson and, I talked about, there's just really so many people, Tom Sandoval, in this world that just get men that get a pass. So if this hit you, if any part of this made you sit a little straighter, do me a favor. Send it to a friend who's currently translating a man's behavior for him into something more acceptable, right? You know who she is. She's in your group chat. She has a whole dossier built on a man who won't even text her good morning. So if that friend is you, sorry, and you're sitting in your car right now realizing it, I want you to know two things. First off, you're not crazy. We're not crazy, girl. You're not crazy for asking for clarity. Asking for clarity is reasonable. And the fact that you're not getting it is the answer. But secondly, you're not alone. I've been there. We've all been there. Every single woman I have ever coached has had some version of this story, right? The ones who came out on the other side did not do it by becoming cold, hard, cynical. They did it by becoming clear. clear in their head. Clarity is the rebellion. Clarity is the accountability. Clarity is how we stop being a woman who absorbs and start being a woman who decides. I love you. I'm rooting for you guys. And that's it. If you haven't already, if you like this episode, I'd love a 5-star rating and review. If you haven't hit that subscribe button here on YouTube, or if you're listening to me in your ears, click that follow button. We're a new podcast, so the more that we get out there, the better. And I'm just going to leave you reminding you that it might be deja vu, but it also might be you. Bye-bye.